Shades of Peace. As I was aimlessly driving my car the other day, I noticed sprawling fields of dry grass and with huge shade trees. The fields were different in that they were hilly in some places, flat in some places, and rugged in other places. I noticed the fields were without the long painted wooden fences of limitation. The fields were without the long metal railings that often line the countryside. The fields were without the tall steel utility poles that fracture the sky and that often peer into our consciousness. There were no property lines, but ownership was understood and respected. The shade trees provided shade for a few flowers that somehow survived the searing heat of the summer. The surviving flowers had to be tough, rugged, and determined to survive such deprivation. Texas summers are always blistering with heat and very little water, but some of the flowers refuse to die or wither away, and those that did are guaranteed to return in the spring season. I thought to myself for a moment, the flowers must be grateful to the trees for providing shades of survival. The shade trees extended the life for some of the flowers, but for the flowers that were not fortunate to grow within the shade line seemed to suffer, dry up, and wither away. There were many different types of trees providing shelter and shade, but the flowers didn't care. They took advantage of any shade from any shade tree because the goal was to survive the summer's heat. Like the heated summers of Texas, America has had a long summer. I can't say it's been a dry summer because of all the tears left behind. America has been crying all summer. For many days, the heat index exploded, causing tears of anger, bitterness, and division. American families are shedding tears of pain, fear, confusion, and death. Many have lost their tempers, their religion, their spirituality, and their salvation. Politicians clashing, blue uniforms and citizens clashing, creating panic and division while running to darkened corners of denial. Wooden privacy fences have been hastily built overnight to separate and divide. Steel posts laced with barbed wire have been quickly assembled to display our suspicions and allowing nothing of value in or to escape out. I hope you hear me today. Some of our fields of freedom have been stolen from us. The lines of hate have been drawn, and many have erected barriers that suffocate peace. In spite of the sweltering heat, our shade trees must deliver and extend the life of its flowers. Our shade trees must provide protection until the waters of the new season enhances the soil. Their responsibility is to enrich us with neighborly protection, brotherly love, and world peace. Sometimes we can't understand why we accept, deny, reject tragedy until tragedy affects us personally. It seems sometimes tragedy must land on our own dinner table before it gets our attention. The truth of the matter is we should provide neighborly shade, brotherly love for all of our brothers, along with security and protection for future generations. It's been a long, hot summer, folks. And we need for all of our shade trees and our flowers to survive. Our political shade trees and our shade trees of security and protection must inject responsibility, compassion, and common sense into their speech and their actions. Blind support of blue, black, white, or brown is radical, confusing, and dangerous. But blind support of respect is trusting, gratifying, and unifying. We understand that there are valuable tools on both sides of this battle. Many on both sides are raging right now. But remember, your moral and your spiritual responsibilities must come first. Political alliances does not take precedent or replace the spiritual or moral expectations. America, allow your tools to work the streets, the alleys, and the neighborhoods to protect those that provide protection and those that are in need of protection. America, allow your tools to police, court to courthouses, and legislate to local, state, and nation's legislature. As Americans, we must understand that the combination of power, politics, and powerless citizens create polluted hearts, polluted minds, and a polluted nation. America, allow your tools to attack the lines of division with understanding, determination, and brotherly love. Allow your tools to push forward and smile at compromise. Allow them to accept concessions that lead to safer streets, towns, cities, and states, and most of all, a safer nation. Our nation's motto is, "In God we trust." But for our nation to thrive, we must be able to trust one another. America, we must be able to trust you to listen, to believe, to stand up, and to speak out against the obvious and the silent injustices of today. The American dream should be a safe dream for all Americans. We believe in the American dream, but the American reality of politics, power, economics, and greed seeks to reduce the American dream of some to a moment of fantasy. We refuse to give our dream away. So today we stand with unified hands to praise and ask for calmness, strength, guidance, and understanding and change. America must change. We must never forget those sacrificed fighting the battle of intolerance. We must strive to fix a system that locks the American dream away from many Americans. Regardless of your religious beliefs, your faith, or spirituality, join me in a moment of silence or a moment of prayer as we ask for protection for our families, our friends, and our neighbors. As we recognize the value and lift up our uniforms of security, as we lift up our uniforms of faith, and as we lift up the United States of America. Join me. Thank you for this time today. God bless you.